Welcome to Memorial Cooking Innovations. I'm Tim Scallon, registered dietitian, and on Memorial Cooking Innovations we show you recipes that are designed to be delicious and that meet healthy guidelines. I believe there's a balance between enjoying good food and living a healthy lifestyle. Today, let's talk about the nutrition that underlies healthy eating. But first, I'd like to introduce you to the team here in the Polk Education Center. In the Polk Center, our clients learn how to improve their diet and how to manage things like diabetes, high cholesterol, or other diet-related health conditions. So let's meet the professionals that are making a difference every day, one bite at a time. Hello, Miss Ethel.
Hi, Tim. How are you today?
Doing great.
Good.
You know, Miss Ethel, our viewers often hear about the Polk Education Center, and so I wanted them to meet the coordinator of the Polk Education Center. May I present Miss Ethel Ballinger?
Thank you, Tim. You want to have a seat?
I will, thank you. So, Miss Ethel, tell me what you do here in the Polk Education Center.
Well, I am the coordinator of the Polk Education Center. We provide education to people with all disease states, and I make sure that we also recognized by the American Diabetes Association. So there are certain standards of care that we have to meet. So part of my job is to ensure that we meet those standards, and part of my job is to educate patients about their disease management state.
Okay, now, Miss Ethel, I know that you're a registered dietitian, but you also have another credential that goes beyond that. Can you tell our viewers about that?
I am a certified diabetes educator. That's what CDE stands for. That's a special board that you have to pass. It's different from the board that you have to pass to be a registered dietitian. So it's a number of hours of education you have to have in providing diabetes self-management training before you would take the national board for certification.
So this is actually a pretty rigorous course that you have to go through. It's not a course, but I mean experience and hours spent in training before you can take an exam and then become certified.
That is correct. That is correct.
So that means that you know more about diabetes than just a registered dietitian, for example.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Well,
I hope so.
Well, I know that you're busy here in the center. May I introduce the rest of the team?
Yes, I think Leanne is with the patient.
Okay.
Let me give her a call and see if she can talk to you for a split second.
Oh,
okay?
that'd be super. We get to see Leanne in action. Before I enter, the confidentiality of our clients here in the Polk Education Center is very important to us. And so, just to let you know, our client today has agreed to appear on this show. May we come in?
Sure, come on in, Tim.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd like to introduce Miss Leanne Anderson, registered dietitian and certified diabetes educator. So, Miss Leanne, what are you doing today?
Well, you came at a really good time. We were just talking about healthy portion sizes for controlling blood sugar and weight.
So portion sizes, you know, we talk about portion size on Memorial Cooking Innovations all the time. In fact, part of the nutrition behind the recipes that we do really depends on appropriate portion sizes. So I'm glad to see other dietitians are doing the same thing.
All things in moderation, just watch the portion.
Well, Leanne, would you introduce our client to our viewers today?
Miss Becky, and we've been working together on planning a healthy diet.
Well, Miss Becky, thank you, and Leanne, thank you for letting us pop in on you today, and keep up the good work.
I will, thanks.
Okay.
So you want to trade out the green beans?
And now I'd like to introduce the brain of our operation here, Miss Gloriella Chong.
Hello, welcome to the center, Mr. Tim.
Gloriella, now you're an important member of the team. Tell us what you do in the Polk Education Center.
I am the nurse/client liaison here in the center.
That sounds important.
Well, a little bit.
It is.
I do a lot of I do all of the scheduling for both of our dietitians here in the office.
Yep.
I also tend to the patient's immediate needs if they come in. A lot of times patients need help with their glucometer or need a glucometer, and I can assist them with that. Also, if they have immediate needs for insulin training or whatsoever, I can also tend to those needs immediately if our dietitians are busy.
Now, you mentioned a couple of things that I want to clarify for our viewers. You mentioned a glucometer, and you know, a glucometer is a device that you check your blood sugar with. And so you actually train patients on how to use their glucometer sometimes.
Yes, sir.
And the center, is it true that the center is a source for glucometers for patients?
Yes, sir. We have free meters, or we have free coupons that we can offer to the patients, and they can go to their local pharmacy and pick them up free for no charge.
So the Polk Education Center is an education center, but it's also a resource center for patients.
Yes, it is. Because
Okay.
we can help patients with some supplies of needles or syringes or pen needles for their insulin. And
Okay, so Gloriella, when you're working with a patient and they come in, can you tell a difference when they leave, how they felt when they came in and how they felt when they left?
I feel like we've taken a burden away from them a lot of the times.
Sometimes not knowing whether it's diabetes or anything really.
Or the cost. Sometimes just them actually saving the client a little bit of money is a big help.
All right. Well, Gloriella, you're doing a very important job here, and thank you for the work you're doing.
Well, thank you for stopping by, Mr. Tim.
Okay. Well, now that we've met the team here at the Polk Education Center, now let's talk a little bit more about the nutrition behind the recipe. When you hear me say that a recipe meets healthy guidelines, I'm referring to guidelines published by leading health organizations such as the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, the American Cancer Society. The purpose of guidelines such as eat a variety of vegetables, fruits, and whole grains is to help consumers make food choices that lower our risk for chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. While we all want to avoid health problems, we also want to enjoy life, and food is part of that. So you hear dietitians say things like, there are no bad foods. There are just choices that when made frequently can either help us or harm us. To enjoy a hamburger periodically is part of life in America. In fact, I have some Italian relatives that would heartily agree with that. But as a dietitian, I would encourage us to make healthy choices more often than unhealthy ones. And that's where Memorial Cooking Innovations comes in. Healthy eating starts with a balanced diet. That means choosing healthy foods from all the food groups. So we include lean meat, low-fat or skim dairy products, lots of vegetables and fruits, and yes, we even include starches. We also choose healthy fats and whole grains. Let's start with meats. Now, we all know that poultry and fish are lean meat choices, but we also get essential nutrients from red meats. Some lean red meat choices include round steak, ground beef, that is 90% or better lean, so not 80-20, 90-10, pork loin, center cut pork chops. And then another thing is a lot of Americans are still eating too much meat. When we allow meat to dominate the meal, that means that the portion size exceeds a quarter of the plate. We crowd out other food groups and we get more calories than we can walk off that day. Don't forget other healthy choices that come from the meat group, like eggs. The past restriction on eggs has been questioned in recent years. Eggs are good choices if part of a balanced meal. Nuts are always good choices from the meat group. A handful of nuts a day, 5 days a week, let's say, can cut our risk of heart disease in half. That's a significant health benefit. Nuts are high in fat, albeit a healthy fat, so keep your serving size to a handful. Dairy products provide us with a wealth of nutrients. Milk is by its nature a balanced food. It contains carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals. In fact, milk contains 3 minerals, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, that lower blood pressure. When we choose skim, low-fat dairy products, we get all the nutrients without the added fat and calories. Now, cheese, a dairy product, adds flavor. You see us on Memorial Cooking Innovations choosing lower fat cheeses such as Parmesan and mozzarella, and we limit the amount used in recipes to lower the sodium, fat, cholesterol, and calories of our recipes. The USDA dietary guidelines recommend that most adults eat 3 servings of fruits and 4 servings of vegetables every day. Now, at first this seems like a lot, but we must define a standard serving. 1 medium apple or any small fresh fruit, half cup of cooked fruit or canned fruit, a 1/3 cup of juice. Now, a standard vegetable serving is always a half cup cooked or a 1 cup of raw vegetables. This recommendation illustrates how we need to eat fruit and vegetables at every meal in order to get the 3 and 4 servings a day. Healthy fats include olive oil, canola oil, nuts, seeds, and the oily avocado. From animal sources, the fat from tuna, salmon, and sardines are heart healthy. By contrast, the fats from meat, dairy products, shortening, and we also call it trans fat, these are harmful because they clog our blood vessels, and this leads to heart disease. The American Cancer Society warns us that diets high in fats, whatever the source, raise our risk of certain types of cancer. So let's look at a Memorial Cooking Innovations recipe. Back in the summer, we made a pizza using this recipe. Now, most people don't think of pizza as a healthy food, but let's just look at the nutrition underlying the recipe. So when you look at this recipe, you see foods from all of the different food groups. You see, of course, the dough is a starch, the sauce is a vegetable, the cheese is a dairy, and more specifically, when you look at the nutrients per serving, well, the first thing you have to ask is, what is a serving? At the top of the recipe, you see a serving size is defined as 1/4 of 1 pizza. And so that tells you that the calories that are listed under nutrients per serving, 350, is the number of calories in 1/4 of that pizza. That's a serving size. So also you see how many of those calories come from fat. And you see total fat in grams. You see that it's 17 milligrams cholesterol. That's very low. We always want it to be under 200 milligrams. Sodium's a little on the high side, 428. And then dietary fiber is good at 4 grams. So what you see here is a recipe that is actually a healthy food. So pizza, depending on how we make it, really can be a healthy choice. It has all the main food groups, and it's a very tasty way to eat healthy. This is a good example of finding balance between delicious food and healthy living. Today, we've learned some of the nutrition that underlies our foods and recipes here on Memorial Cooking Innovations. Balanced nutrition means eating foods from all the food groups. Healthy guidelines help us make food choices that lower our risk for chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Memorial Cooking Innovation recipes are designed to be delicious and meet healthy guidelines. The objective of Memorial Cooking Innovations is to find balance between healthy eating and delicious foods. And today, we've met the team that is making a difference every day. And how is it that we make that difference?
One bite at a time.
Don't you love them? Memorial Cooking Innovations is made possible through the generous efforts of Brookshire Brothers, a celebration of family and community, CHI St. Luke's Memorial, the Polk Education Center, Sodexo Food Service, and the City of Lufkin, KLTX Channel 15.